Maynard.
We are live. This is the Reseller Wakeup. It is episode 41 now? Jeez, episode 41, 10th of December. We've been doing this for almost 2 months, guys, and we've got a very special guest today. Really excited to have Chris Green on. Been talking about it for a couple of weeks now, and just going back and forth on Facebook. I was on a Spreecast the other day, but how you doing, man? How's it? Reseller Wakeup. You got to mute the video if you've got the chat open in the background. Everybody does that. Don't worry.
Am I making the echo?
Do you have YouTube muted?
It's the other one that is open. The audience one.
Yeah, if you've got the
audience one open.
I don't know. Somebody did.
I don't think it's me, guys.
Okay. It is all good. Don't worry about it. Anyway, introduce yourself. Who are you? Where you come from? What do you do? Let these guys know.
Well, it's 9 o'clock, Eastern time, and a lot of times, to be honest, I'm still asleep right now because I stay up late. I was up till I think it was past 3 o'clock last night. I was posting deals. I was answering questions. It's just fun. I mean, I'm even working on a new online arbitrage, which we'll get into later. A new kind of theory on how to find these deals that are sitting out there. And once you kind of get started, your brain just kind of keeps going. And, to be honest, the stuff I'm really excited about is just the fact that we live in 2014 and 2015. Where we're going with this, whether you're selling online or you want to do anything else, for Pete's sakes, guys, we have options that every single generation before us, including the most wealthy people in the world, right? The king of England 200 years ago does not have the luxuries that we have today or the opportunities that we have today. And if we miss that, we are missing a big opportunity.
Oh, yeah. The King of England 200 years ago didn't have the luxuries that some of the poorest people in the U.S. have right now. Especially in...
bottled water, exactly.
Exactly.
Clean water on demand. I got heat. It's freezing out. I'm in Massachusetts. No problem. Let me press a button and warm up my whole house.
Exactly.
We had the internet. For Pete's sakes, imagine if Kennedy and Nixon had Google Hangouts.
Oh, man. Just wait until the debates turn into Google Hangouts where they're just waking up every morning and talking to each other and talking to everybody. And it's, I see it. I see it coming. It's on the horizon.
Right.
Hey, Tracy, how you doing?
Hi, guys. Good morning. Sorry I was a little late.
It's all good. So, go ahead, Chris.
You got a lot of people here, man. I thought it was just going to be me and you, but now we're going like rapid fire.
Oh, this is the format, man. Like I was saying, I've got usually 4 or 5 people on when it goes live, and like you said, it's freaking early, and it's really early for some of us. But
yes, it is. Yeah.
Like Callie, man.
The Callie guys.
At 6 o'clock to be on in the morning, but.
Well, you've heard my alarm go off twice. That alarm was seriously to get up in time to make sure I didn't miss this show, and even sharing the link. Chris Maynard, I didn't realize you were coming on the screen, man. I saw you post in the group, and I was like, oh, I got to post that link. Because, like I say, I'm a Spreecast guy, so I didn't even know if this was shared. The other one that we did with James was, like, recorded and posted, like a month later. And so I'm learning something new, man. No one knows everything. I am happy to learn something new.
Yeah, well, I'll be happy to talk to you more about the Google Hangouts later, and maybe when you come back for the next show or whatever. But anyway, it's a great format. I love it. Just the fact that it's so easy to get people on, and people can come in and out, and once you get the hang of it, it's really, really simple. And it's the best part about it is how much it costs. My very favorite number, free. But anyway,
well, that's a great segue, because if you want to talk online arbitrage, that's something that you really can't do for free. And I've got a pretty wide audience, and a lot of them are eBay sellers. I go to eBay meetup groups. I meet people that have been in these groups for a decade. And the online arbitrage model, compared to what they're used to with eBay, it doesn't really work the same. eBay, I don't want to say it's free, but if you're exclusively sourcing for eBay at, say, thrift stores, garage sales, stuff like that, you're not spending a lot of money, and you're able to get a lot of inventory. Even if you're a bookseller on Amazon, you can get a lot of books for $100, right? Like more than you can even. Look behind you, dude. I can see a lot of books.
A lot of books, a lot of DVDs, video games, a lot of shoes over there that, $2 pairs of shoes that I've got listed for $50 a piece. Yeah, you're right, and you can't really do that as much with Amazon. The way that I got into FBA, my background, like a year ago, I lost my job, and I had already been doing eBay for a while, and the only reason I wasn't doing Amazon at that point was because I kind of had that feeling about Amazon, like it was Amazon doing everything, Those were Amazon's products. I didn't realize that behind the scenes there were all these people going out there and buying stuff and sending it to them or selling. I didn't even know you could merchant fulfill on Amazon. And so, eBay I thought that was the only option. And, a few months ago I started getting into these Hangouts and the Facebook groups. I started learning all this stuff. I'd known just enough about FBA to where I was paranoid about it. I'd heard the one horror story that everybody sees when they Google problems with FBA about the dude that had the $100,000 business or whatever, all of his inventory. He had one item that Amazon decided was counterfeit, so they shut him down, and a really, really bad story, And I don't know if you've heard that one, but.
Oh, I've heard all of them. Chances are I know the people that are telling these stories, and there's some I don't. I see the Amazon forums, and people talk about Amazon shut me down for no reason. And I've been in this game for a long time with Amazon. I know a lot of people at Amazon. A couple months ago, we went out for kind of an executive tour of Amazon. We brought 14 different sellers with us. They were pretty high-level sellers, doing at least $500,000 in sales. Some doing up to about 10 or 12 million. And when you talk to Amazon and you actually meet them in person, then you realize that there's a real face behind here. This isn't like some faceless internet company that just randomly does stuff. You kind of start to see where they're coming from, and this is their PR stuff, right? Like Amazon, they're saying we're obsessed with customers. Everything we do is for the customer, and that sounds good when you read it on the internet. When you go there, they live it. Like I'm serious. This is all that they are obsessed about, is keeping their customers happy. That's it. They don't care about us. They'll even tell you. They won't say it in an email or on their website, but if you meet them, they'll be like, no, we care about the customer. They won't say it. They won't say, I don't care about you, but they'll really imply it by simply only saying, we only care about customers. So when you see sellers get kicked off, I can't believe there's even one instance where it's random or for no reason. There's always a reason, and Amazon gives sellers so much information based on data to help them avoid that. If every seller who sells full-time, and even the part-time Amazon sellers, should log into their seller account every single day and look at their dashboard and make sure that they got all green boxes at the top, right? You don't even have to know what they mean. Just make sure they're green. And if they're yellow, figure out why they're yellow and fix it. And if they get all the way down to red, even if they're red, you don't get kicked off. If they're red, you have to start fixing stuff, or else Amazon, they may decide, you know what, it's not worth it to us. We don't need your money on our bottom line because you're too much of a risk to our customers. It's not an emotional decision for Amazon. It's based on data. And if you ever hear someone say, oh, one-sided story, no, every story's got two sides. And they don't want you to know their side, right? Because you might just find out that there was a good reason they got kicked off. And I apologize already because my questions always get long, or answers get long-winded. But it's good for the community. It's good for the good sellers to have bad sellers kicked off.
Exactly. Well, don't worry about the time. This is a 2-hour show, and I do that on purpose. I want us to be able to have time to talk about everything and actually dig deep, and just make sure that there aren't any questions. We get to explain ourselves. If somebody says something, that's like, wait a minute, then we can step back and be like, okay, this is what I meant, that sort of thing. But
yeah, we don't have to rush.
Say again, Danica?
We don't have to rush. That's why I like the 2-hour format.
Yeah, exactly. It's more laid back, and you don't have to feel like you're just going crazy to get all the information in. But
how about a 15-hour format?
Hey, I heard about that screencast that you did the other day. I missed out on it, unfortunately. I was pretty busy.
Oh, but, the replay's there, dude. If the next time you have a spare 15 hours.
Yeah, you need to go back and be like, here's the highlight reel.
I need to go back and split it up. I did that last year. I split it into clips, so it was like every hour people could watch, and it's a very intentional reason for doing that. If you only want to hear this guest, only listen to this guest. Like, you will not hurt my feelings, even if you say, you know what, I don't want to hear you. I only want to hear this guy. No problem. I don't mind at all. You got to give the people what they want. Give them options. You know, I mean, I'd be a fool to say, hey, everybody, here's this 15-hour YouTube. I really hope you watch it. Nobody's going to watch it. Are you kidding? There's nothing that I would watch for 15 hours.
You know, I don't think very many people even watch this show for 2 hours. And if I started going longer than that, yeah, there's no way. But,
hey, this is Google, man. You got the metrics, you know?
Yeah.
You'll be able to go through and see. And I tell you, I mean, that's another great segue, right? Because I didn't realize how many metrics and how much data YouTube provided on videos. I'm not really a YouTube guy. I upload my videos because it's convenient for the user to watch them there. But I started looking at the metrics on some of my videos that are in my book, Online Arbitrage. It's got 40 unlisted videos, but what I did is I took the first 3 chapters, which include some of the private videos, and made them free. And anybody can download them, right? And I can see how many people download them. And of course, those videos have more views than the other ones that only people who bought the book are able to watch. And I looked at the metrics on it, and I was like, only about 1 in 6 people watch these free videos from the beginning to end. And these are focused, good, these will make you money videos. 1 out of 6 people that start it actually get to the end. And I told that to somebody. He was like, man, that's really good. And I'm like, that's really good. I want 100%. I mean, why aren't people watching these whole videos? And he's like, dude, most videos, it's like, 4% get to the end of the video.
And that's a good one.
Yeah, so I'm happy with the 16%, right? Like the 1 in 6 kind of thing. But I bring this up because I'm always looking at the flip side of this data. Because this is my book. I'm the only one who sells it. I'm the only one who sees how many people send an email to register. I'm the only one who sees how many people hit me up and say, hey, this includes 30 minutes private coaching. I want to take advantage of that. I know all those numbers, and you would be surprised how low they are.
Yeah, well, you would be surprised how high they actually are in like compared to everybody else.
I agree with that. Because I don't want people to think, oh, it's low because, oh, your book sucks. It's like, no, they're not. I mean, they're actually very high for the model of trying to get people to register and do stuff like this. But they're still incredibly low in the sense of anybody that buys this book, if you're worried about like, oh, 1,000 other people bought this book, so, is online arbitrage still a viable model? Yeah, it is, because when you have the low rates of people who actually take action, this is what it goes back to, and it's a mental game. I know it's for a lot of people. It's for me too sometimes. I'm like, I gotta convince myself and say, no, you've got to get up. You got to push more. You got to do it. Most people who buy the book or any book or participate in any groups, they don't actually do it. So if you do it, anybody who's listening, if you actually do it, you're going to be in the minority. You're not going to have that competition that you're worried about. You're going to execute and make a ton of money. And I just want people to know that, because I see it in people. They're like, oh, this isn't a viable model. I went to an eBay group in Connecticut, and they're like, what, do you think you could do this in 5 years? I'm like, dude, of course you could do this in 5 years. I looked at Keepa. If you look at the Keepa Twitter account, they have 400 followers in the world, right? People like, the cat's out of the bag now. No,
well, we've been talking about Keepa since we started the show. That was actually one of Keepa, FBA Toolkit. What are some of the other ones?
Camel,
obviously. Yeah, that's the big one. I mean, we've been talking about all the tools, and we've had whole shows about FBA and just how to research. And, I mean, we've had experts on, guys that I consider experts, that are actually like the kind of guys that have, maybe they've been through a quarter 4, or, they're this is the first quarter 4 where they're making like really, really good numbers, and they actually know how everything works. And now, before we get into anything else, I did want to make sure everybody knows what you're talking about when you mentioned the book. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the book, I'd written a few books before, and this is a book that I've been planning to write for a long time. It's called Online Arbitrage. You can find information onlinearbitrage.com. And arbitrage is more of a financial term, for kind of markets coming to equilibrium, currencies, money, and stuff like that. And we just kind of borrowed it and said, you know what, that's kind of what we're doing with products, because when you have an iPhone and you have FBA, you can pretty much evaluate any product, and you can store and ship and scale and do as much as you want with FBA. So a lot of the limits were removed. So it kind of opened it up. That was kind of the dawn of, well, I'm just going to sell anything profitable. I'm not an eBay, seller in my niche. I'm not a book seller on Amazon. I'm just going to sell stuff that I can make money on. So when it's anything, it's kind of arbitrage. You're taking stuff from one market and you're bringing it to another market, and you're going to capitalize on that market inefficiency because it's overpriced in one, or it's underpriced in the other, or both, even better. And there's different ways to get products. So I wrote Retail Arbitrage about getting books or items at retail stores, but very different strategies compared to getting products online. And the way I kind of describe online arbitrage, it's every single way that I know of to sit on your butt, on your couch, with your computer, and have profitable inventory shipped straight to your door. Because some people like that, and some people live out in the country. They can't go to 12 Walmarts when something hits. They need it to come to their house. So it comes to their house, and it comes boxed, right? It's already in boxes. You just open them up, put FBA labels on, ship them back out. If you got a UPS schedule, they're going to deliver in the morning, and they're going to pick up in the evening. It's great. And it's almost too big. The book's 480 pages. It's full color. It's not cheap. It's $300 on Amazon. Sometimes they drop it down to $200. And it's got so many strategies that I would tell somebody, don't do them all. Don't try to do them all. You can't. It's simply not possible to do them all. So find the ones that you like, over-index on them, get really good at them. And I tell you, if you practice a strategy of online arbitrage for 20 minutes a day for 2 weeks, you'll get really good at it, right? Nobody's really good at anything the first time they do it. I mean, look at me on Google Hangouts. I mean, I had to refresh. I was in my wife's account. I mean, that's not, I'm going to mess it up because, but by the time I do this 10 times, guess what? I'll be good at it. And that's what people got to do. They got to push through. They got to learn something new. They have to think differently, because so many of the things that we're looking at are buyer-facing, meaning they're designed for buyers, people buying that TV on a good deal. But if we're buying to resell, we're looking at items very differently. We're looking at data very differently. Keepa's not designed for us, right? So they're giving you information that says, okay, this is how you're going to save money on this product. I want to save money, but I need to know right away, right? The speed is more important to us than, oh, cool, it's on sale. Okay, I'll buy that when I get home tonight. No, I'm not interested. I want to buy it right now, because if it's hot enough to make money on, if I don't buy it, someone else is going to buy it. So I already forgot the question. What are we talking about? Oh, what's online arbitrage?
In your book, oh, sorry. In your book, Chris, do you teach people how to do online arbitrage? Like, if you go to this site or this type of site, look for this type of thing, and
this is how you find
you're looking for parameters A, B, and C.
Absolutely.
Is that the okay?
Yeah, I'm a big teach people to fish rather than give them a fish kind of thing. I mean, the book is full of examples. It shows screenshots. I say it's full color. I mean, it's my book. Of course, I'm gonna say it's great, right? But I mean, it's kind of a work of art. I mean, this thing looks. You pick up this book and flip through it, you're like, dang, this is like legit. You wrote this yourself? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I think people don't think that I look like a good author. I don't think I have author swagger or something. But everything in there is a real example. So when I say look at the movers and shakers, and these are the keys you're looking for. You want this price to match this price. That's a good sign. Now look through. Now look at the buy box price. Look at the other sellers. Look for a sign there. Now look at the Keepa history or Camel history. Look at the sales rank history, because if it's got a low price right now, maybe it's got a recent sales bump that's making it look attractive. But most of the year at this other price, it doesn't sell at all. All these examples, and I said this before when the book first came out. One of the things I love most about the book is every example is 100% real. And I wrote this book in the summertime when people would say, oh, there's no deals available. It's easy to post deals in Q4. Well, yeah, it's easy to post deals in Q4, but when you know what you're doing, you can find deals all year long. And every example is real. My wife got mad at me a couple times because a deal alert would go off on my phone at 3 in the morning, and I'd be like, oh man, that's such a good deal. and if I waited for the morning to make a video about it and do some screen caps and all this stuff, it would be gone. So it was I get up now and I come and I make a video. All right, guys, making this video. This is where I found this item, and this is how I'm going to evaluate it. This is how I know it's a good deal. and this is what else I'm looking for, and this one item went on sale. That means these other items may have gone on sale. And every example is straight up real stuff we found. No, well, maybe you'll find something on this site. No, I mean screenshots, videos, everything, 100% real. And if I can do it in the summer, anybody can do it all year long. Just use the tips and tricks in the book. I mean, it's really laid out to where anybody can do it. But we don't. This is probably where we should get into misconceptions about online arbitrage, because you can't do it on like a $20 a week budget. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed about, I mean, I've been following your groups. I look at your BOLOs, and I mean, you post BOLOs like dozens of them a day sometimes. I mean, just constant barrage. It's like, how am I supposed to keep up with this? But that's the thing. I don't look at that thinking that I need to keep up with any of it. I mean, there are going to be those deals where it's like I get in right when you post it and it's awesome and I hit it, and then there are going to be those deals where, it's wow, that was gone in 2 seconds as soon as it hit. And then you even deals. I noticed that it's like, oh, did you guys miss out on this? Like that bow that you posted yesterday. It was like $150, and what, a $900 bow or something like that. Little stuff like that. I mean, it's but the thing I like about your group and the way that you do it, you don't just put the BOLO up. You're like, this is how I found it. This is the thought process that I went through. And I mean, that's just helped me and given me ideas. And I mean, if you're doing that on the fly, just in a 2-second post, I mean, I could only imagine what the book looks like. I haven't had a chance to pick it up myself yet, but I do actually plan to get it, especially after Q4 is over. Now the Arbitrage book, your first book, you can get that one for, like, that goes on sale free sometimes on Kindle, right?
Yeah, free on Kindle. It's only, and can I pick on the audience a little bit?
Yeah.
It's $2.99 on Kindle, right? So if I offer it for free, don't hit me up the next day and be like, hey man, I missed it. Can I still get it for free? But it's only $2.99, right? Like.
Well, how long? Now you wrote the book, the first one, what, like 3 or 4 years ago? How long ago did you write Arbitrage?
Well, I'll try to give the short version of the story because it's not terribly interesting. But I wrote the first retail arbitrage, the one with the $sign and the shopping cart on it. Please don't buy that book, guys. Okay, it's outdated. I stopped printing it. The only copies for sale are from third parties that keep recycling it. Amazon loves it because they're making their commission on a $100 book about 6 times a month for nothing. But I'm getting none of that. I'm not printing any more of that. But I pulled it because it was too big. It was huge, and it was the retail sourcing and it was the arbitrage model. And not everybody wants both, right? You can do arbitrage and have no interest in retail sourcing. So I pulled it and I took out all the retail stuff, rewrote it as just the model of basically selling retail purchased products with no retail strategies on Amazon, and I priced it low, $9.95. I want people to buy that book. I make like $1.52 or something every time that book sells on Kindle. Actually, I think I make more on Kindle at $2.99 because of the cost. But I mean, I never wrote that book like for profit or anything. I wrote that book so people would stop asking me questions. Well, what's a prime buyer? Dude, I do not have time in the day to answer everybody asking what a prime buyer is. But the book can answer that. So wrote that book. It's the beginner book. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, anytime anybody asks me what the business model is, and this is great when it was on sale the other day for free, I was talking to 2 or 3 people that day, and I said, listen, today on Amazon, get this book. The first 3 chapters will tell you more than I could ever possibly tell you about how FBA works.
Well,
it's self-defense. Don't lie. You just don't want to explain all this stuff to your friends and family. I know. It's a self-defense book. It was for me. I couldn't take the phone calls, and it's not that I didn't like talking to people. I just didn't have enough time in the day. Clearly, I like talking and hearing my voice, right? It's not a big deal. But there's not enough time in a day, and it's the same information over and over again. So it really was. It was supposed to be this long PDF. It kind of turned into a book that I tried self-publishing, and guys, we should talk self-publishing.
I definitely want to get into that, and the self-publishing thing, the ebooks thing, might not be today because, I mean, 2 hours seems like a long time on face value, and if we get there, cool, let's do it. But Now, one thing that I've noticed about a lot of your videos, and one of the things that got me so interested in you and like paying attention to you, the stuff you were saying 2, 3, 4 years ago in your on your YouTube, like your YouTube videos, your seminars, stuff like that, it's still relevant today. It's this kind of stuff that people are still talking about now. They're still saying, they're still using the same like examples, and they're still given the same guidelines that were in place a few years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of or most of your information is evergreen. It's all evergreen content to me.
Until Amazon really changes things around, yeah. But it seems like they've been pretty consistent. How long do you think you're still going to be able to do things the way that Amazon is running things now? I mean, how long is it going to be easy to get into FBA? How long is it going to be easy to get ungated for different categories? Or relatively easy? You actually have to go out and do it, obviously, but that's basically, that's all you have to do is keep trying, and eventually you'll get a rep on that's like, okay, you're approved.
Dude, that's a good point about getting approved, yeah.
Do you have any success stories that you can share with the guys from the online arbitrage book?
Oh, yeah, but all right, you guys got to slow down, though, because we're like 4 or 5 questions.
Yeah, before we get into success stories and everything, I really want to talk about what I was just mentioning. But go ahead, Chris.
Well, you know, you guys talk about my content being evergreen. I mean, it's not anything of mine. It's just that, you know, I think I was just at the forefront, right? I was early, and to a point, I was lucky. And if we want to talk, you know, bigger picture stuff, it's about kind of seeing something and believing it and going all in on it, even when nobody else is. I mean, when I look back at when I first started doing FBA, I mean, I remember like the feeling where I was like, I see the FBA program, and I'm like, no way. No, they're not going to warehouse my stuff and make it eligible for Prime. Are you kidding? I mean, that's incredible. But it has to cost a fortune. There's no, I mean, sure, no, my products can't possibly, you know, make sense. There's no way I have enough margin built in. There's no way my price points are right. But man, it would be awesome if I could, because I was a Prime buyer, right? I bought Prime, and don't do this anymore, guys, against the rules now, but back when I did it, it wasn't. I had a corporate account, and they put Prime on my corporate account. These were accounts like, hey, spend $500,000, we'll give you a 12% rebate account. I'm like, really? Because I'm going to buy it anyway. They're like, yeah, no, we'll give you 12% back. Okay. And they just send big checks. I mean, this is like, you know, 7 years ago. And I was buying from Amazon and selling on eBay. And I wanted this stuff fast, so I did the Prime stuff. And I got addicted to Prime years ago. You know, and you know, saying a Prime buyer, I had this great example. It was actually a year and a half ago, summer, and I was at a garage sale looking at books. I was scanning them with Scanpower, and I really didn't even intend to buy them because I knew I'd never list them. But I started talking to the guy, and he had heard of Amazon Prime, and I was almost like, what? You've heard of Amazon Prime? Because up till then, it was very difficult to go and meet anybody who had heard of Amazon Prime, right? Like if you're in the resellers, if you buy from Amazon, you kind of know what it is. But you talked about it earlier. You were like, you know, I didn't even know about Amazon and third-party marketplace. And I thought they just sold books. A lot of people still think Amazon just sells books. A lot of people have no idea that 40% of Amazon's revenue is from third-party sellers, not even stuff that they sell themselves. Amazon is a force, right? And it's probably the best opportunity in terms of if you want to make money selling products on the internet, you have to look at Amazon. Now, if your products, I mean, I see the Hawaiian shirt in the background with Chris. I mean, that's not going to sell on Amazon. That's an eBay item, right? I don't know if you're listing. It looks like you're taking pictures to sell it, right? But that's for eBay, you know. But if you want to make some money, Amazon, you know, can't be ignored. And you know, to talk about the opportunities, opportunities for online arbitrage. 400 people worldwide, you know, follow Keepa. There are opportunities, but you guys hit a great point. It is going to get harder. Just my personal opinion. I don't have any insider info from Amazon. But just looking at what's happened over the past year, 2 years, I mean, go back to the beginning of FBA. Here's a story for you. FBA, I call it used to be the Wild Wild West FBA. I would get a big box, right, like 20 by 20 by 20, and I would put in exposed saw blades and toys, and I mean, there were no prep requirements. There were no poly bags. I didn't even have to sell products in retail packaging. I could list them as new, and Amazon didn't care. No split shipments, you know, all these different random products went to one warehouse. I had no competition, so everything sold like the day it got there. It's much different now. Now we got split shipments and prep requirements and bagging and all this. It's turned out a nightmare. It's still easy compared, but it's all perspective, right? When you're used to one, then you get into another. But when you're talking about gated categories and more categories being gated, I completely agree. And I completely go all in on the advice of get approved in all the categories that you can, even if you're not selling in them now, even if you don't expect to sell in them in the future, because you never know. You might find this great supplier, and now you want to be a jewelry seller. Jewelry has been closed, not just gated, closed for years. They just opened it up. And the sellers who knew, they got excited and they got approved right away because they were like, this might be a door that closes. And the Amazon door, big door, it's not going to close. Amazon wants that 40% of sales for stuff they don't do anything for, right? They don't have to hold the inventory. You know, they don't have that cost. Sure, they're warehousing and shipping it, but they don't have to pay for it. We're paying for it and selling it to Amazon. They want that big door to keep opening, but they might close some smaller doors. So get in while they're open. You know, if you can unlock it and get in, get in.
You know. Do you do any? How tough is it to get ungated for certain categories? Is it the same process no matter what the category is? I mean, I've heard everything from people having to go out and get a wholesale account and get like professional invoices from wholesalers, all the way to, yeah, I went to the thrift store, wrote down what the item was next to the item that doesn't even have a description of what it is, and then I wrote my name and my address on the top of the receipt, and they took it.
I wouldn't go that low. But you know, the different categories do have different requirements. You know, some categories are going to kind of throw people for a loop if you start getting into flat file uploads and image, you know, quality and size and resolution. That might go over some people's heads. There are a few services that have popped up. You can just Google, you know, get ungated in different categories on Amazon. And for some people, it's well worth it. Some of them are like a few $100 per category. But if it's a category that you're going to make more than a few $100 in, I mean, just pay it and be done with it. But you know, I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit because you know the question of, you know, oh man, I gotta like go get some invoices. That's not that hard, right? Like if you plan to make some real money selling DVDs and you got to get approved, then go get your 3 invoices and get approved. If you won't fight through that, then I've got to believe that the amount of money you were going to make selling DVDs on Amazon wasn't worth the couple hours of effort, you know. And here's the beauty of the internet, 2014 moving forward. If you got trouble, go in the Facebook groups, come on a YouTube video, I'll hop on a Spreecast and ask for help. There's a ton of people out there who thankfully are willing to come on, answer questions out on their own time, out of the goodness of their own heart for no money, and they will help you get approved in these categories. And I tell people, take advantage of it. Not take advantage of it in a bad way, but see the opportunity there, take them up on their help, and if you start networking with good people who are willing to help you, things are just going to work out. You know, you'll be able to help them out down the road. I mean, a lot of people do it. I don't think they do it intentionally, but I'm more than happy to help people for free, and then it kind of builds up a little leverage situation, right? Like, where like, oh, that Chris Green guy helped me like 10 times. Guess what? If I ask him for a favor, he's going to do it, right? I'm not going to like ask him to mow my yard or anything, but I might be like, hey, dude, can you like tweet about my book? I'm doing a promo. He's like, heck yeah, sure. Can I like, you know, post on Facebook too? Like, yes, of course.
Yeah, and it's not like you're holding anything over their head or whatever, you know. You're just asking. No. It's like, hey, dude, check this out. And then, you know, that's what I love about the online networking, the social media networking, because, I mean, there isn't that much of a, like, investment involved. I mean, your time, obviously, that's the biggest investment. But I mean, the more you put your face out there, the more time you spend in front of different audiences and different people, and the more people that you have that can reach other audiences, the more it helps you. So everybody is really, what's the word? They want to go out and they want to get people. They want to get in front of people, and they want to network and get in front of as many people as possible. But
if we have time for self-publishing and create space, something else we should talk about. We talked about this on Callie Picker's show. Is, you know, if someone would ask me what the most valuable thing I have, or most valuable thing they can work on building up. To me, it's a very clear answer, and I call it your audience. The audience is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to build up. It's actually very easy to build up as long as your content is good. And for Pete's sakes, we've talked about it a few times already. It's 2014. You can build an audience. You can provide value at scale if you want to. This only works if your content's good. Okay, if your content's not good, if you don't know what you're talking about, you better go learn something first and then go out. Which again, it's 2014. I can learn anything. I mean, give me 40 hours in a week, and I'll be a 90% expert in any category. Right? Like, pick a category. And if I have 40 hours a week to sit in front of Google and learn something, I'll be pretty good at it, right? I won't be 95. I won't be 99. That's the stuff that comes with, experience and time and making mistakes in a subject or whatever it is. But, I mean, let's pick on eBay. Are you saying in 40 hours, if I dedicated 40 hours of my life to learning eBay, that I couldn't be pretty good at it and understand all the policies and understand all the nuances and all this stuff? No, I could hop on forums and Google and talk to people. I mean, it would take 10 hours, 4 hours. I mean, like, not 40, right? So you can learn stuff. Then you can build an audience. You can use Hangouts and Spreecast and Facebook. Facebook groups is probably my go-to method for connecting with people because, yeah, it takes time to engage. It takes time to add value and answer questions. But it doesn't take that much time. And if I can answer one question, if I can do one Spreecast and help one guy out and change his life, and he says, oh, dude, now I get it, guess what? I selfishly have that replay, right? And I'm going to gain a larger audience by putting that up on YouTube and having 10,000 people look at it and be like, you know what? I like this guy. I'm going to go see what he's all about. And you can build your audience. And you build your audience by doing what? Giving value to other people. I mean, this is like a business dream come true. And the only other thing I want to add about audience.
We talked about before, and you had harped on, was growing your audience organically. And I kept that, and I listened to that, and that was a great topic you need to touch on too.
Yeah, and that's going to be like a chapter in the book is how to grow an audience the right way, right? Because I get people, they come in my Scanpower group, and the first thing they do is they spam something. I'm like, really? I don't mind. It's not, it's 2014. The internet is a lot smarter now than it was 10 years ago. People click on spam links and not know. They'd install viruses and not know. I'm not worried about a spam link because people are smart. They're not going to click on it. That guy just ruined his reputation in one click, in 1 second, and for what? Like, he's not even going to get any clicks or traffic or sales or anything. He's ruined it, right? And he could have come in and said, hey, guys, thanks for letting me be a part of your group. Looking forward to participating and answering questions. There's a very simple way. I mean, if someone wants to leverage my audience, I can't stop you. If you come into my groups and you provide value to my audience, my members, my users, my listeners, I can't stop you. I will encourage that, right? And you can build up your audience by doing that because people are going to be like, hey, that Steve guy is pretty smart. I really like the questions that he answers. He's got some good points. If you're good, they will find you, they will follow you, they will friend you, and then, you can even go as far as once you have a relationship, like with me, the admin, if you say, hey, man, I'm looking to, start my own group, it's going to be kind of about this, you know what, if I know you, I'll probably just let you post it because I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, I really don't want anyone else to know about any other groups because, I mean, that's such a cowardly statement, right? Like, I don't care. I won't let anybody, but I am not afraid of anybody posting a group. If someone can provide more value or better value than I can, I want my audience to ditch me and go over there. It won't hurt my feelings, right?
Well,
it's not about me. It's about the audience.
Yeah, the way that I look at it, it's not that I want them to. I don't feel. I'm not surprised if they do. If the other guy's better, I mean, you can't. It is what it is. But I mean, the internet is so huge, and there's so much content being created. There's so many people going to the internet for content, and it's really like a little minuscule scratch on the surface of what it's going to be like within the next 5 years. But I mean, yeah, people are. You're gonna gain followers. You're gonna get people that are really loyal to you, and then you're gonna make people mad, and they're gonna run off and they're gonna hate on you, or they're gonna try something on their own. And then, you know, you're going to get people that watch what you're doing and are like, hey, I can do that. And then they start doing it. Guess how this show started?
Yep. You know, and Chris, that goes back to what you were saying about competition and stuff, and it's something that I tell people all the time because I run into other people that, you know, they resell on Craigslist or they do stuff on eBay, and I see them in thrift stores or wherever, and you know, I tell them about FBA and you know where I'm selling some of the stuff I find, and they're like, well, you know, aren't you worried about me, you know, doing the same kind of thing? And I, like I said, I think I've kind of borrowed and stolen this phrase from you, but if I'm afraid of competition, I'm in the wrong business, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and there isn't that much competition, really. I mean, okay, right now we've got 76 viewers, which is awesome. And I mean, we've been on there for what, a month and a half, and I mean, we were excited when we hit 20 on the first day. You know, so I mean, we've gone a long way. But I mean, out of the people that are watching this and the 300 or 400, 500 views that we get a day or whatever, how many people are we really competing with? I mean, if I give out a BOLO or I give out some kind of information, I'm already competing with millions of people who are better than me at it. I mean, making somebody else better, or giving somebody else advice, or doing something that can help somebody else out. It's not going to have any effect on my business.
No, it really doesn't. There's so much out there, and you know, it forces all of us to up our game. Like, you have to provide value. Like, it's hard to really feel bad for somebody unless they're like your friend or your brother or something, if they can't build an audience because their information is not good enough.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, sorry, you know, but you got to step it up. And if you're not good, I mean, I hope a lot of people try things, and if they're not good and they fail, that they just try to get better. It's not a, hey, I tried to be an FBA guru and it didn't work. Well, up your game. You know, figure out what you weren't good at. Take people's feedback. I mean, this isn't personal. If someone says, yeah, man, that dude, you know, he was quoting policy and he was wrong. He had so many wrong answers. That's good. You know, if you just found out, oh, I didn't realize I was quoting that policy wrong. Good. Now you've improved. Take people's feedback. There's kind of two kinds of, like, negative, you know, you don't want to just call them haters, but, you know, for lack of a better word, there's two types of haters. But there's haters that are just out to, like, you know, see you burn, right? And there's nothing you can do. But then there's the haters who are like, hey, you know, and they got honest feedback, and they're like, they give you a thumbs down in your video. They're like, I didn't like that video because you guys rambled for 30 minutes starting it, and I really just want to get to the good part. And they actually vote you down. But that's good feedback. I don't hate someone like that. I'm thankful for that, to be like, you know what? We should really think about it, because maybe we are kind of rambling a lot, you know, at the beginning of the show. And maybe you're not. Maybe you look at it and you're like, you know, I get that guy's point, but, you know, the rest of the audience, they like the personal touch. Whatever, right? But you took that feedback and you checked to see if it was something that was worth it. I got no problem with that. People can leave me 1-star reviews on my book and say, I already knew all that stuff. Fair enough. I got no problem with that. Right? But if someone comes in and leaves a hater, biased, antagonistic review, then I'll call it out. And I can't delete reviews on Amazon. But I'll poke fun at them. I'll be like, okay, clearly.
Yeah,
and once
you're a little
don't
biased.
hurt anything, right? I love
you had your review done before the book was even finished, and you probably had it written up before I even posted the listing. So yeah, but then I agree with you though. There are the people that are like, oh, this guy, look at what you said here, and that is positive feedback to me as well. I mean, I don't care if you give my videos a thumbs up or a thumbs down or whatever, as long as you tell me why, you know, because I want to know when I say something wrong. I'm not a guru, okay? I've never told anybody that I'm a guru. I'm not one of those guys that knows a bunch of stuff. I'm not somebody who I'm not a success story, you know. I want to be a success story. A year from now, I want to be telling everybody how I did $20,000 on Black Friday, you know, and that's my goal. But I created the show because I want to draw people in like you, Chris, who are success stories, who know how to get me there, and I take the show live because as long as you're telling me about it and we're talking about it, everybody else who's watching it is involved too. All right, so I mean, I just want to make it so. I mean, I felt like when I was in these hangouts in the mornings, when I first started doing them, that it was almost like we were being kind of like greedy, you know. And no, it wasn't like we were being greedy. Okay, we were taking it for granted. We were taking it for granted because we didn't realize how much information was being shared that could help people. And once I realized it's like, man, this show, if we did just go live and we just started having people on, it would be so helpful for so many people. You know, I mean, it's been great so far. It's exactly what I had envisioned, and but I mean, hopefully, like I said, within the next year, I'll be able to tell everybody how great my FBA is doing and how I've moved from eBay and I'm not even selling things anymore. And this room is going to be freaking clean, and you guys are, you know. But for now, I'm just trying to get as many. I'm surrounding myself and surrounding everybody who's watching, everybody in the community, with as many good people as possible that can elevate them. You know, I mean, I'm just one of those people. I don't want to bring people down. I want to elevate people, and I want to. If somebody's below me, you know, like I say I'm not a success story, but I mean I do this full time, and this is what I do. And I mean I make enough money to get by, but you know it's like it's still a struggle. But there are people that are just starting out that I mean they aren't making enough money to get by, or they're starving, you know, or you know they lost their job and they're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? You know, and those people I want to bring them up, but. Oh, Robert Bagley, what is going on, man? How's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Good morning, everybody.
Back from Disneyland.
Morning.
Is your heat broken or something?
Hey, Robert.
Hey, what's happening? Oh, it's I'm trying to dress for the holidays so that I look festive. So yeah, but you know it's 38 degrees in Atlanta, so that's really cold.
Well, yeah. Speaking of dressing up, I did manage to find. What do you think of the bandana? Is this a little better than the Spreecast yesterday? Or the other?
I noticed the red, and I appreciate the bringing out the red for the Scanpower red.
So,
I definitely noticed.
So Chris mentioned the Hawaiian shirt behind me. That's my new thrifting shirt. It's pink flamingos actually. So, yep, dressing up.
Yeah, we were.
Well, I have a question for Chris, if I can pop in here.
Yeah, what's up, Tracy?
Chris, on my channel, we're doing a book review on your retail arbitrage book, which is terrific. No, it's all good. We totally love you and everything that you've done. But on the channel, we also talk about more than just eBay and Amazon. We're also talking about, you know, as business owners, you know, trying to build our business and evolving and growing. So I was curious, kind of a behind the scenes, you know, how you started as far as, you know, a desk in your, you know, a little tiny office, and how you've evolved personally as a business owner. Like now, do you have, you know, how many employees or warehouses? Are you still actively arbitraging, or are you more book writing and managing your website? You know, that type of thing behind the scenes.
That's a big.
That's a huge question.
Well, he was posting pictures from lines on Black Friday, so I'm ratting him out on that one.
Oh, let me see if I can find the picture. It snowed on Black Friday here, and I stood in the snow
because I
to the
think
point of having snow accumulated. I don't know if this is going to come through too well on the screen, but
yep, I
talked
to a couple hours before that.
The snow on my hoodie, and you know, it's fun. I mean, I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to do things like this. You know, because you go out and you have fun, you take some pictures, you meet people. You know, that's a nice business to be actually like know you're making money and helping people. Like I say, I don't want to take anything for granted, right? So, but you know, I could kind of go back and give like a brief overview of like how we got started. I mean, in my book, I say, you know, I used to work for a power tool company. And I was calling on the home centers, Home Depot and Lowe's, so I would be in those stores pretty much every day, and I did that for 5 years. And about 3 years in, you know, you start to see the cycles. Like, you know, it's not a mystery what's going to be on sale at Home Depot on January 1st. It's the big tote bins. It's going to be on the flyer.
Yep.
They're going to be all stuffed at the beginning, at the front of the store.
Green and red.
Right, and it comes every single year. And when you're as a power tool, you know, vendor. So, you know, these products had great price points. Most of the time was spent like in the power tool section like of Home Depot. And you would see the cycles, the new product cycles, the seasonal cycles, the clearance cycles. And I remember there was a Milwaukee combo kit we used to sell for $549. It's their flagship kit, probably the most expensive tool that they had. And they clearanced them down. It was either $199 or $249. And I got on the phone, and I was calling everybody I knew saying, do you need one of these? Because this is like a sick price. And everybody's like, that's a good price. I don't really need it, though. And I was getting mad at people because I was like, you need to buy this because it's so cheap. This is such a good deal. And I was like, screw you guys. I'm going to sell these on eBay. So I started buying them and selling them on eBay. And, you know, the little twist that made me a lot of money was I would take these kits and break them down. Because at the time, and this made a lot of customers upset. Like if you wanted a DeWalt drill, right? Because you've already got 12 DeWalt 18-volt batteries. You just need an extra drill because your buddy's always borrowing it. Or you go into a job and your friends come in. You need 2 drills. You don't need a drill and a saw. You need 2 drills. You couldn't just buy a drill without buying a drill and 2 more batteries and another charger. Throw in the box with your 18 other chargers because all your stuff's DeWalt. You just need the drill, and nobody sold it. I mean, you guys may see it now in Home Depot, like the Ryobi 1 Plus, right? You buy whatever tool you want, right? That's new, right? And that launched when I was working for Bosch. So you couldn't buy this stuff. So I was more than happy to sell just the drill for $100, and I had customers who were thrilled. They were like, "Thank goodness I can finally buy this." So I would break them all down. It's like a chop shop for a car, right? Like the pieces of the car are worth more than the car. So it's kind of, you know, doubling. I was increasing margin that way. I was buying this stuff super cheap. The biggest leverage point that I had or advantage was that I lived in Dallas-Fort Worth, right? I lived in Irving, Texas, and it was right during Home Depot's expansion. All we did, it seemed, was open new stores for months. So, you know, it used to be the mayor came out if you opened a Home Depot. Now, and this nobody cared. Like, why are we opening one here? There's one right over here. And it was torture at being a sales rep. They're like, why are your numbers down? I'm like, they're down because the people that normally bought the saws at this store are now buying them over here, right? So my numbers aren't actually down. Okay, the same number of saws are selling, but they didn't want to hear that. But 70 or 80 stores within an hour of my house, depending which way I wanted to go. And I had the insider knowledge of being able to go to Home Depot's computer system and find the inventory. And this is like a lot of things lined up in my favor. This was a time where Home Depot did not manage their inventory very well. I could go to a store and they would have 30 table saws. And that store probably sold 1 table saw every 6 months, right? So they had like 10 years supply of table saws, which makes no sense for anybody. But there were reasons that would happen. They would have to hit their number with skill. So they were like, well, we'll get a 12% rebate if we spend another $500,000 in tools. We're going to get $1 million back. So they would just drop tools on stores, be like, yeah, you're getting 12 more saws and you're getting 18 combo kits. The stores had no business having those things. But what would happen? They'd sit up in the overhead and they'd get clearanced out, and then I would come along and buy them up. And I would find those stores through the computer system. And I was like, okay, show me the 8 closest stores. Okay, that one's got 1, this one's got 3, it's probably a display, and probably 2 got stolen. This one's got 20? What on earth? Oh, it doesn't surprise me. That one's in a bad part of town. Bad part of town stores, they put all their expensive stuff up in the overhead so it doesn't get stolen, and then they forget about it, right? So this is, sorry for the long, I told you at the beginning, some of my answers are long-winded. But this is how I got started into volume, because I could get quantity of product at significantly below retail prices. And it's a very safe model to do that way. It's difficult to get the quantity and below retail because someone's losing money, right? When you're buying below retail, someone's losing money. But I could get quantity. So I did so much that I finally had to leave Bosch. I wasn't doing either one of them full. And that's the advice I give people looking to quit. Figure out when you're like doing the double hustle and you got to pick one. So I picked going to eBay. Yeah, RB3 knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's documenting his story along the way. So I started out just in the garage. Just in the garage, started out. We moved to a different house, got married in 05. So we were doing this in 04. Wow, that's 10 years ago. Doesn't seem like it, but I guess we were. So I got married in 05, moved to another house, had a big outbuilding in the back, about 1,000 square feet, so we could really buy more stuff and store more stuff. We started doing direct deals where we'd stack a promo and do all this extra stuff to get a lot of quantity. And we had, I took cabinets like that someone ripped out of their house and put new cabinets in, and they put the old ones out on the curb. I snatched them off the curb and threw them in the garage, and I put a piece of plywood on top of it, and I put my bags and my craft paper rolls and my boxes underneath. I mean, we didn't have I didn't go buy desks or buy tables, right? And this was all, it doesn't matter. No one cares what table you're packing a box on. And I was still packing all my own stuff. It was like pre-FBA days. And we just kind of did that. We thankfully had a lot of room to store stuff at home, more room than probably most people have. Then we moved up to Massachusetts, going on 4 years now. Where did I switch? I mean, we did Scanpower in the middle of it. I mean, that's how I got started into what I'm doing today. There were no FBA tools as I made the switch from eBay to Amazon, which only happened because the prices on eBay, they were going down because what I did wasn't special. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he copied me. He didn't copy me. It was easy money, and if there's easy money, people are going to start doing it. So prices went down, margins went down. I always thought I was a price seller, thinking, oh, if I price low, if I undercut, I'm going to get the sales. And I would see people selling on eBay for higher prices than me and getting the sales. And I was mad. I was like, why are these sellers, why are people buying this stuff? And that's what I thought Amazon was. I thought nobody actually bought on Amazon. Look, it's $40 on eBay. Why do you pay $60 on Amazon? And we all know that's completely bogus now. We're like, Amazon pays when Amazon pays. Thankfully, it was free to list on Amazon. So I listed on Amazon, started getting sales. And I was like, this is ridiculous. This is so easy. I don't have to deal with questions and feedback and all this stuff. So I went all in on Amazon. That's when I had like that, ding, ding, ding with FBA. Went all in on FBA, but then there were no tools. I couldn't list the stuff fast enough. And the story I always tell, because it's completely true, is my wife and I were sitting at the kitchen table or standing across from it with 300 books and movies and all this stuff lined up, stuff from book sales and thrift stores, and 300 labels in our hands on those 30-up sheets. And we spent like 2 hours labeling this stuff because nothing was in order. We were like, have you seen this one? There's one of these. Right. That's all we did for over an hour. So got through that, and I said, you know what? There's got to be a better way. I need to be able to print FBA labels individually, and the pricing. We're doing books. I need to add that $3.99. I'm not. Why am I matching the 1 cent? Right? $3.99. This is when you could turn penny books into dollar bills as fast as you could list them. Right? Those days are gone, but those days were here for a while. So I went on Elance. I posted a job saying, I need to print individual FBA labels. And again, this is like 7 years ago. Nobody knows what an FBA label is. So to even get a response, I was thrilled. But met up with a programmer, Paul Rutherford. He's the co-founder of Scanpower right now. Still, it's me and him. We're co-founders of the company. So he made the program for me. I paid for it, just for me. And I said, this is incredible. We need to make this, something other people can use. And it was another one of those moments. We talked about this at the beginning. You got to like see something and go all in on it. Just like I went all in on FBA, and you could not convince me otherwise. And trying to convince someone 7 years ago, no, it's perfect. Check, I'm gonna put a sticker on this box, and I'm gonna send it to Amazon, and we're gonna make money. People look at you like you're crazy, right? But I was confident, and I could have been wrong. I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm looking through to say, okay, this is gonna get big. And I had to convince Paul. I said, Paul, you got it. Come on, man, we got to do this. And he's like, I don't know about this FBA thing. I don't really see it getting that big. I'm like, no, we have got to do it. And thankfully, very thankfully, he agreed. So he kind of transitioned out of his old business into this new business. We were called FBA Power until we got a phone call from Amazon saying you can't be called FBA Power anymore. So we changed it to Scanpower. And we've got, I think we're up to about 11 or 12 employees. We've just hired a bunch more programmers. And that's what takes the majority of my time. I mean, this was a big question. I had warned you ahead of time. I'm not an active seller anymore. And it's partially strategic. I do these private coaching calls with people, and anything that we find, every strategy and tip that we talk about, that's exclusive for them. It doesn't get shared anywhere else. If we find and there's been some like sick deals where I'm like, whoa, this is cool, and it's all you, and I don't share it with anybody else. And it's kind of like a nice kind of safety thing. I'm not a seller. You can send me an item, RB3. You can send me an item, say, what do you think? And I'll be like, I like it or I don't like it, but you'll never even have a hint of thinking, oh, now it's sold out. I wonder if you bought it. No, I would never do that. I value my audience and my reputation incredibly high, and I would never risk it for something like that.
Yeah.
So I may get back into selling. I find so many of these deals. Right now, I enjoy sharing the deals. If I can find a deal and send it to somebody and they make $1,200, great. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that they made that money. Thankfully, Scanpower pays me a salary. I'm the co-founder and the owner, but I just get a salary. Okay, so my bills are paid, and it gives me the freedom to just go out and help other people without having an expectation of, well, I really need this guy to sign up for Scanpower. Hey, you sign up for Scanpower, great. Love to have you as a customer. But I can help people who aren't customers without that weird expectation. So
cool.
On that, I actually, about a month and a half ago, was talking to a buddy of mine who's a real strong SQL guy, real strong, programming, and we were talking about, if you could grab a regularly updated copy of the Amazon product database along with, the top, say, 25 retailers or so, you could in real time compare them and just cherry pick your deals right out of the top. So I guess my question is why aren't you guys just doing that and rolling in the millions? Why are you sharing this with everybody? Because I know that's what Web Scout basically does for people.
That's a fair question, and I'd have to run the numbers on what makes more sense sometimes. Because if you want to get all of the online arbitrage deals, someone actually said to me when FBA Scout first came out, it's now called Scanpower. You're like, why don't you just keep this app to yourself and go make all the money? And I'm like, there's 4,500 Walmarts in the country, right? Like, I could go to 10 a day, and I wouldn't visit every store once in a year, right? Like, I can't. The amount of money it would take, and I guess you could go get investors, but then that's just such a different business model. Because I can buy a lot of stuff. I can't bankroll every online arbitrage opportunity on the internet, let alone receive it and process it. And that's the thing. I got people that criticize me, and I get it. I don't care, because when they say, "Oh, it does," I can't believe you don't sell anymore because you just write books. I'm like, well, writing books takes time. And correct me if I'm wrong, but selling online takes a lot of time. Sure,
I'll
get up on a podium and say, this is easy, this is the easiest business model, and it is in principle. Buy stuff, sell it. But if you are a full-time seller, if you want to make a full-time income, you've got to commit some full-time hours. And they're great hours. You can work anytime you want. See, RB3's got me. He knows. He's doing this full-time. This isn't 2 hours a day and like, now what am I going to do for the other 6? I guess I should be working. No, it takes full time. But if I was a full-time seller, I wouldn't get to write books. I enjoy writing books. I enjoy going and speaking and helping people. And to be honest, a little selfish vanity, I like kind of being the guy that people look to. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind when people come up and say, hey, man, I read your book. That's awesome. I get a little, warm fuzzy for that. And, I get that. Everybody... There are so many opportunities right now. People got to realize. I get everybody on this call, I'm sure, can identify with this. After you go out, if you do a store run and you go buy a bunch of stuff, you could stop at one more store on the way home. You could make more money that day. But at some point, you've got to stop and go home and spend time with your wife and kids and sleep and eat and take a shower.
And pay your power bill instead of buying more inventory.
Right. You can always make more money, and there's probably lots of things I could do that would make me more money per hour than what I choose to do. But we have these options and choices. So I get criticized for my choices. I don't mind. But I just try to encourage people to look at all the choices they have and make their best decisions and look forward, because we can all sell on Amazon, but we talked at the early part of the show, Amazon don't care about us. You can love Amazon all you want, but they're not going to love you back. Right? So if you can use Amazon to build a business, it's like YouTube. I heard someone say this about YouTube. YouTube is a great place to build a brand, not a great place to build a business.
Correct. Right.
That's YouTube. So get your brand out there, but have something on the back end. RB3's doing this with his videos and stuff like that. He's not trying to build a business on YouTube. He's building a business and using YouTube to grow his brand. And you can say the same thing for Amazon. If you're just selling, and I hate to minimalize this because that's not what I'm trying to get at. But if you're just selling retail, commodity, branded products, I hope everybody stops and thinks, what's really inherently special about what I'm doing? What am I building? Do I own a business or do I own a job? And a lot of sellers, I think they need to have this thought in their head. I think I own a job, because if you stop doing it, what's going to happen? Right? Now, if that's what you want, you get the flexibility and you're the boss and all that, that's fine. I just don't want people to have the misconception that they own a business when they own a job. They're both better than working for the man, right? So, but figure out where you want to get, because if you figure out, it's like, dang, I do own a job, and I want to own a business, no problem. Figure out where you want to go, and take the steps to get there. And if you don't know the steps, Google it, join groups, ask people. I mean, this is like a circular argument that we're going through here. You can do anything that you want. You have to figure out what it is and do the steps to get there.
Hey, Chris.
Go.
You were talking on your Spreecast about we're moving now into more information and intel than we are where we came from. So can you just address that real quick? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, it's huge, and it really is. This is going to go down as one of the pivotal moments of where online selling changed, in my opinion. And you could go back and look at, okay, when iPhones came out, things changed. When FBA came out, things changed. When mastermind groups and the simplicity of finding them, things changed. Things are changing right now. And I asked this question on the Spreecast. I said, hey, who's ever scanned something with Scanpower and made a buying decision, and for the most part, on a snapshot of data? A sales rank at this minute, an Amazon price at this minute, competition at this, not even minute, second. That's what we're looking at. But now the tools have evolved to the point where between Camel, Keepa, and Scanpower Web Scout, you get such an informed pricing decision that it's going to be kind of tough to make a bad purchase. Because we're looking at data over time. We can see if sales ranks are trending up. So you don't make that bad buy where you're like, man, this does look really good. But the sales rank was trending off because a new model came out and you just didn't know. Or you buy something saying, man, this thing looks hot. Well, the sales rank spiked because Amazon ditched the product and marked it down 90%, and some guy bought 10, and that's it. It's never sold before in the history of Amazon. You just made a bad buying decision, even though, and the example of that mailbox was so perfect. Mailbox ranked top 4,000 in toys, lowest price $199. If anybody saw that on a shelf, they would be jumping for joy and putting them all in the cart. That thing's never sold for $199. Amazon gets them in stock every now and then, and when they do, and 10 sell to one seller, the sales rank jumps up to 4,000. That thing is not a $200 item. You might get 60, 70 for it. You can still make some money on it, but you have to have realistic expectations. Now that we have data over time, sales rank history with Camel, Amazon in and out of stock history with Keepa, and all the trending information that you see with Web Scout, and the ability to track Kohl's.com. Ding! Oh, Kohl's dropped the price on that item down to $20, and now I can make 85% margin on it. Okay, I'll go buy it. This isn't difficult stuff. It's just the data. The data's always been there. It's now come to a point where it's manageable and it's presented in a format that we can make better buying decisions. And it's going to put some people, I don't want to say put some people out of business, it's going to cause people to up their game or maybe get out because the business is still there. The demand for products is still there. The products being sold at discount and the products being sold at over retail are still going to be there. It's just going to be, it might be a change in which sellers are the ones doing it and making the money. And for everybody listening, I hope it's you guys, right? Stay with the times and see this coming because people that are using these tools, you don't have to use paid tools. Keepa and Camel are free, but you have to learn how to read those graphs. And when you learn how to read those graphs, you're going to make better buying decisions, which is going to save you money and make you money. It's twofold, right? Like, who wouldn't want to do that?
Right. Now,
business, in the past, it's always been about growing. You always had to grow. But now with technology that is so fast and the changes come so quickly, you just have to be more flexible.
Right.
Yep.
That's the reason why we can do. That's the reason why we can do what we're doing because the brick and mortar stores, they can't be flexible like that. They've got a standard model that they've always followed. That's not going to change anytime soon. They can't change or they can't stop putting price tags on their stuff and then just start changing their price to whatever they feel like it's worth, And the whole retail arbitrage thing is going to be around for a while. But how long do you think it's going to be before they do figure out a way to start adjusting things as fast as they need to be so that you can't do this sort of thing, or do you think that that's going to stick around for a while?
I think, we're at the beginning, we're at the forefront of this. I was going over to eBay to get my account. I'm trying to keep up with your questions over here, but here's this Spreecast. The question was how long is this going to keep going in terms of using the data? I got half your question.
Oh no. Okay, so the reason that retail arbitrage works and the reason why you can go out and buy things from a big box store or whatever and resell it on Amazon for a high profit margin is because it's just the model that they've built on, and they can't be as flexible as we can. How long do you think it's going to be before it's going to they're going to have the people, the ability to keep their prices in line with everything else, so that they can basically stay updated and follow the market more closely? Or do you think it's just going to be a thing where we're always going to be able to do that?
I definitely think that we always be able to do it. And I use kind of a morbid example. I mean, people die, right? So there's estate sales, and given enough people dying and enough estate sales, there's going to be enough people who manage estate sales who price stuff incorrectly, right? Which means you're going to be able to go in and get some super collectible $10,000 something for $100, right? So it's always going to be inefficient because we live in a world of time. If we take a snapshot and everybody stopped, then yeah, all those things would stop. But I'm baffled at the number of people on the road at 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, couldn't we all just be where we want to be at one point in time? And it never will, because of time. People want to be different places, and everything's always moving and changing. And if you look at it from a retailer perspective, retailers love clearance product, right? Clearance product brings people in the store. The retail mentality behind a clearance product, and this is like the few times that I've gotten scolded, but the stores didn't want me to buy all of their clearance product, is they're like, man, we do like having some of that in our store. And I got in the conversation of why, and he's like, well, what the data shows is that when a customer comes in and buys a $200 drill for $99, now in their head they've saved $100 and they go spend that $100. So they buy some saw blades, so they buy some trash bags or whatever else, because they're like, man, I just saved all this money, so I'm going to go buy some cool stuff. That happens. Then that overall ticket at Home Depot could still be profitable, even though they lost $100 on that tool. And it gives them a good feeling, and they want to come back, and they're like, yeah, Home Depot got some bargains, and they tell their friends. So there is a strategy to that. But at the same time, as the other example, we live in the physical world. Like Home Depot or Barnes & Noble isn't going to carry my books, all right? They don't sell well enough. They've got to carry stuff that's going to make them money per square foot of their stores. And so does Walmart and Target. That's why they don't like those giant boxes. When I see giant boxes, toys at retail, I love those. I keep my eye on those because they don't. Yep. I know the stores don't like them. They want more products on that shelf, not just one product. There's all the retailer strategies behind the scenes.
And that's that touches on something I actually pulled off yesterday. But so a couple of weeks back, I went into there's a thrift store chain that has an electronics clearance store here locally, and all 22 of their stores feed all their computer and video game stuff through it in order to verify that it actually works and stuff like that. So video games you usually don't get a deal on, but accessories, keyboards, mice, stuff like that, I can usually find dirt cheap. And I told the manager one day, I said, man, I'm going to come back here with about $4,000 and clear out your corner one day. And he just laughed. And what it was is I was buying an item for $15, and I actually sold it yesterday for $94. Okay. But I told him, and I showed him, because he knew I was reselling, and I actually showed him on my phone what the price was on Amazon, and he's like, "Are you kidding me?" And he goes, "Man, I wish I could get that for it." I said, "Yeah, but you can't. And look, the price tag on it was 4 weeks old." I said, "You've had this on your shelf for 4 weeks, but here's the trick: you get 100 customers a day on a busy day. Amazon has 59 million active accounts. I said, I don't care how big your store is, how big your parking lot is, and how much advertising budget you have. You will never have 59 million customers walk through your store. Not going to happen."
Okay, so my thing with talking to people when I'm in the store, the employees, especially their stores and stuff, it's kind of, to me, that's where I draw the line as far as giving out too much information, because, I mean, they have no freaking idea how to do this stuff. And if they start doing it, and that's a source for you, it's kind of not a good idea. I mean, that's just crazy to me, because you lose that source as soon as they start doing it themselves. So, I mean, there's a certain line where I do draw, but
I don't know, man. I think there's a balance in there, in terms of you have to know who you're talking to, and you have to know, have like a different confidence of what you can do, because like Chris was saying, if he goes into that store and he's open with that store manager. I'm going to give you examples of value of both sides of it. There's the value of not saying anything, because it's true. I mean, a lot of Goodwill stores, they scan their books now, and I say good for them. They're their books, okay? They were never our books, so that we have a right to them or anything. They're going to make money with their books. They're going to put people to work. Good for them. Hope they make a ton of money on them. Some books are going to get through the cracks, and you can still make money on them. But some people say, oh, someone must have let the cat out of the bag. No one let the cat out of the bag. If there's money to be made somewhere, people will find it. Just like people who came, I didn't have to tell somebody, hey, you can buy clearance combo kits at Home Depot and make money on eBay. No, they figured it out for themselves, right? So, don't be paranoid about it from that sense. If there's money to be made, people are going to find it. But the converse to that is if you go to that store and say, hey, yeah, I sold this for $100. I bought it from you for $15. But you have that relationship with that guy. You know where the conversation is going to go. Maybe you already think there's no way this guy's ever going to. I know this guy's got no interest in selling online. I know he's thrilled if I came in with 4Gs and he could dump this stuff on me. He would take it in a heartbeat. And here's a question I was posed for people. How many of your friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, everything know exactly what you do and have no interest in ever doing it?
Yep.
All of them.
Mention it at a retail store. Some guy is going to become your #1 competitor. To me, sure, it's possible. Everything's possible. Is it likely? No.
Hell,
not. You'll get so much more
people
value
want you to do it for them.
Yep. I mean, my kid brother.
Go ahead.
Sorry, my kid brother, who I've laid this whole thing out for specifically, is thoroughly convinced that this whole thing's a scam. And I've shown him my numbers.
Yeah.
But
I have a friend that she lost her position, and she's concerned about what she's going to do. And I've been talking to her about selling online, and she sees the numbers. She asks and talks to me every day about it, but she refuses to do it. And I just I can't instill it into her. You can do this, but
yeah, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But I went into a drugstore last night, and this was a place I had seen these two printers on the clearance rack behind the photo section. They've been marked down to $29 for the last 3 months. Okay. Well, I walked in there yesterday, and I was finding a couple other items that I knew were on sale. Asked for the manager, called him out, and I said, "Listen, I know these things have been there for 3 months. I've seen them there." I said, "Will you give them to me for $20 a piece?" And he looked at it. He looked at the tag. He said, "Man, that clearance tag's a month old." And I said, "Yeah, and these are big boxes, man. These are taking up retail space in December." And he says, "Yeah, we can do $20."
$10.
I would have gone for 10.
No, 20 is a heck of a investment for what it'll save me. They're going out with Amazon this morning with the rest of my stuff, so it was a good move on my part.
I'm always thinking try 2 steps ahead, right? Because you tell stories, and you got a couple printers for a good price. You're gonna make some money on it. I am more interested in the relationship that you just started with that store manager, because you've now connected with them, you've had a conversation with him, you've looked him in the eye, you've given him money. He knows that you understand retail to some extent, saying, "Hey, it's taking a retail space. I've been there for a long time."
Well, and he also told me when his first inventory shipment after the first of the year was going to come in, and when the clearance racks would be put back on the end caps.
Yeah, that's money right there.
I know.
And you would not have got that if you were like, I don't want to tell anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to scan my stuff in a corner. I know people who actually put stuff in a cart, go to the corner of the store and scan under their jacket. What are you afraid of? Do you really think someone's going to hear your phone beep and put together the FBA arbitrage model?
Right.
It's not.
No. I mean, I say that I don't tell anybody what I'm doing. I'm not at that level, though. I mean, I'll sit there and talk to people about clearance items and try and convince them to give me better deals, and this is why I want to buy them all, And I mean, I know what you're saying, though, Chris, and I'm probably overdoing it a little bit when I'm trying to keep it quiet. But I mean, I'm the kind of guy that'll walk into a store with my phone out, just with my camera on, making a video, So I'm not shy or anything about having my camera on or letting people know that I'm using the internet for anything. But now you were talking about audience before, and I've heard rumors that you got another book coming out, and is that what it's? I know that's what the title is, but what exactly is the book going to be about? Is it going to be focused more on social media and stuff like that, or are you going? How would you describe the whole audience? How you're approaching it in your book?
Yeah, I'm here, guys. I have my mic muted. The new book, I say new, I haven't written it yet. It's just called Audience. And the idea kind of came up because I've had so many conversations with so many people, and it always keeps going back to the audience. If you don't have an audience, and everything that we're doing here doesn't work, you could have the best book or the best YouTube channel or the best videos or the best, but if nobody knows about it, so what? All right. So it's the value of the audience, it's respecting the audience, it's how to grow an audience, and I think it'll help a lot of people because I tell you, everybody's good at something, and we got our hustle group, and the original idea for hustle was we kind of just talk about different ways to monetize things. Because if you're good at something, I guarantee I can give you 10 ideas of how you can monetize it. It's not monetizing for the sake of monetizing. It's because our time is valuable and limited, and if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to do something on the side, if you want to make some extra money, I mean, the 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. hours are just as valuable now as 9 to 5. You can do anything that you want, but you got to know how to do it. And I would explain it as, if it was me, if I was starting fresh, I would take Facebook, Spreecast, YouTube, and is there another one? I guess those are my main ones.
There's plenty. There's Pinterest, there's Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff that kind of.
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't use those.
Oh.
They're just not my thing. I mean, like, look at Gary Vee and Twitter. I mean, he kills it on Twitter. I don't kill it on Twitter. But guess what? I kill it in Facebook groups, and he doesn't. So it's a matter of like knowing where you're strong and kind of going all in on it. It creates Amazon and CreateSpace. Like you have no idea the audience that I get simply because I published a book, right? And publishing a book, I think we'll have time to get into it. I uploaded a Word document, and now I'm a published author, and I get all the bonuses that go with being a published author, right? Like I whip the book out, and people are like, "Dang, man, you wrote a book." And I think part of it's because like I don't look that smart, so like, wow, like a dummy like you wrote a book. But I would use those 4 pieces, and I call them like a puzzle. But if you don't know how to put them together right, it's not going to do you any good. And if you're trying to do, yeah, but I'm on Pinterest and Instagram. So, I mean, like, what are you posting? Are you posting crap? I mean, does anybody care? Because it's not. I mean, you got to understand each platform. Not every platform is push and say, I'm gonna put out all these pictures and stuff. If no one cares about your pictures, no one cares. But if you use the platform properly and go out and engage with people and like their stuff and comment and share and make other people feel good, then you're going to build an audience and you're going to build followers and you're going to get friends and on Facebook and all this stuff. Audience, again, it only works if your content is good, right? If you're not good, none of this is going to work. Once you have that audience, then you can write a book and sell it to them. You can. I think I actually said this first, but master something. If you can master something that makes money, right? And this doesn't have to be, I mastered this, full-time income type of thing. If you can find a way, take eBay for example. If you can find a way to tell people or show people how to consistently make $100 a day, right? That's what you figured out, and you mastered it. You know it inside and out. If you teach that to other people, you'll make $1 million.
Right.
That's it. But you have to be the master. You have to have some street cred. I mean, I got the street cred. I've done millions on Amazon. I posted my eBay account. It's at 18,000 feedback. I haven't had feedback there in a while, but I got the street cred on eBay. I got the street cred on CreateSpace. I got the street cred on Facebook. So that gives me the ability to say, hey, I am going to write a book, and guess what? People are going to buy it. Right. Because I provided value over time. I've built up that audience. I got people that buy my book and don't read it. They just buy it because they're like, dude, you've given me so much value over the years. I just wanted to, buy your book. That's it. And I appreciate them just as much as the guy that buys the book and executes and makes $1 million, or the guy who doesn't buy the book and says, you know what, that's a $200 book, man. I can't afford it. That's cool. We can still jam. It's not about, okay, no, you got to buy the book. I don't mind if you don't buy the book. I mean, RB3 bought like 2 or 3 books and like gives them away as like presents. So.
Hey, you didn't give me
I haven't bought that yet, so.
And we can still jam, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna be picking it up at some point, but right now it's just getting through Q4. That's the focus. But yeah, as far as the self-publishing goes, I mean, I would love to talk about that. First, do you have any questions for anybody on the panel? Anything that you kind of like, kind of see or common misconceptions or things that people are doing, or like the way people tend to do things. I mean, what do you have for us as far as that sort of thing? Just kind of, is there anything that you see that you kind of know that you see so commonly that you could correct or whatever? I don't know.
Now you want me to critique everybody on the panel?
I don't want to critique anything, but I mean, you just talked to so
feel free.
many. No. You talk to so many people, and you see so many ways that people do things differently. I mean, are there things that you see kind of consistently? It's like, I don't know about that. You should probably be changing things up. I guess that's more my question than anything.
There's some good stuff going on here, and I don't like pretty much everybody down here is like, you know, we've interacted in the groups, or we at least all in some of the same groups. Some of you guys I know, you know, more than others, but you know, there's nobody I see here that's doing anything wrong. Everybody's doing a lot of things right. I talked to, you know, RB3, you know, it was a couple months ago now, and you know, he already was going where I was suggesting he goes. He tells me about, I want to leave my job, I want to do this, and I'm like, dude, have you thought of like documenting your story and building an audience? And he's like, yes, I have. And I'm like, good, because I mean, when I heard his story, I was like, that's a great story, right? And I think this is almost perfect for, you know, we got Entrepreneur Girl right here, right? Now, we've never chatted. I mean, maybe we chatted a couple times, but you know, when I see what she's doing and what RB3 is doing, it just kind of works, right? Because I understand that I don't identify with everybody, or everybody doesn't identify with me. There's some people who are going to say, you know what, that's just a boring white dude. And they're not going to identify with another boring white dude, right? And that's okay. That's just human nature. Some people are going to identify more with Robert because he's like, he left 6 figures to do this. And they're going to be like, that's what I want to do. I want to follow Robert. Good, right? Entrepreneur Girl, you're going to attract a different audience than I'm going to attract. Right? There's a female audience that's going to say, you know what? Oh, she's doing it? Cool. I want to jam with her and go with that. So people need to play to their strengths, understand kind of what their audience likes, and don't try to be someone else. Don't try to be all things to all people. I mean, when I hear lowest common denominator, I hate that term. Why would you want to be the lowest common denominator? I had someone, you know, we used to do the FBA radio show. We played our FBA rap, you know, all about that FBA. And someone actually emailed, that was our intro. We played it for like 8 seconds. Someone emailed saying, I hate that song, you got to get rid of it, you should, you know, go after the lowest common denominator. And I'm like, you know what, I get more value out of the people who love that song than for me to change who I am to try to attract one other person who's, you know, mad enough to email me about 8 seconds of audio. It's just not worth it. So figure out what you're good at and play to it, you know, figure out where your audience is. And this is the advice I give for everybody. I can't get into everything, right? But document. This is the advice I gave RB3. Document everything. I missed this at the beginning because the questions kind of went long. But you know, you were like, hey, I hope in next year I'll quit eBay and I'll be doing Amazon. I have all these success stories. People don't care about success stories. I mean, they're good and all. People want to hear failures. They want to know that you messed up. They want to know that, oh, I'm not the only one who totally didn't understand that policy and got burned for it. They will identify with you more over your mistakes than they ever will over your successes, right? And if you can identify with them, if you can connect with them, they're like, yeah, man, remember when we both bought that thing and it was restricted and we had to like lose money on it? That's a connection versus, hey, you made money on that? Yeah, me too. I mean, like, a big deal, right? I don't really know why, but that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And I mean, you've got to make a lot of mistakes if you're succeeding, you know? I mean, you're not going to get anywhere if you're just playing it safe. And I mean, unless you're born with a silver spoon or whatever and you don't actually have to work. But I mean, if you're...
No, that's not our audience, man. We ain't going after that.
Right.
We want the hustlers.
Exactly. I mean, I want people on here that can, you know, I want new people, I want experienced people, I want people that can sit there and talk about how much money they're making or how many people they reach, and I want people that are like, hey, I just lost my job and I have no idea what I'm doing, help me out, you know? So, I mean, I feel like that's kind of where I'm at on the audience thing. But
I've been there.
Yeah, I'm still there.
Been there for 2 years.
Hey, Paul?
Yeah.
I just want to introduce a good friend of mine that I invited on the show. His name's Michael Cavan. Wave to everybody. Michael, say hi.
Hello.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, Michael.
He's a picker.
Right on.
He's a picker and a grinner.
Yeah, you'll have to come back on when we got time to talk to you a little bit, man.
All right.
But anybody else on the panel? Who's got questions for Chris? Because I mean, you've got him. We don't have much more time left. It's been going fast so far. But does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Chris is my boy. Do I call him Green Money?
What's up, man?
Hey, Chris, you remember? I don't know if everybody knows this, but remember No Ladders, dude?
No Ladders, definitely. Dude,
A lot of people don't know that.
Dude, that's a great example, man. That is a story that makes no sense. It's not related to anything, but we all share that story, and we all identify and we laugh about it. But it doesn't make any sense. It's the weird things that we connect with, and document, take pictures, climb up on the ladder and take a selfie, and everyone's like, yeah, man, that guy's cool, and then you connect with people, and it's just silly stuff, and it's about not taking yourself too serious. And that's the thing about sharing your mistakes. Don't take yourself so serious. Don't think that your audience would ever diss you because you made a mistake. I mean, I guarantee you, if this YouTube, Hangout didn't work, if it glitched out, your audience doesn't care. They understand. They'll be back next week or next month. It's no big deal. I mean, I had Spreecasts that just crashed. And I'd be like, sorry, guys, because this was a greed thing you were talking about earlier. And I say we are all, if we're building an audience, we are kind of greedy because we are asking for people's time, and we have to deliver and give back that content, especially when you're live. Everybody's listening live. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for spending time here. But we have to deliver you guys some value. That's on us. And if we don't, you're free to go off and say, I wasted my time on that show. And that's on us. It's our job to earn that feedback. So
I don't know anything about glitches and issues and little that never happens on this show.
Yeah, have you ever lost anybody? Have you ever heard someone say, I like your show, but I'm not watching because you guys anything, right? Like, they don't.
No, I mean, you'll get the people. It's like, I didn't like that guy, so I'm not going to watch anymore because you keep having him on. It's like, okay, whatever. Don't watch it then. That's about the extent of it. It's like, what are you going to do? And not everybody's going to like everybody. What's that?
Mike's got a question. One retailer has an Amazon policy which limits items. I haven't heard of that policy where, I guess he's saying that they think or they know that you're a reseller, so they're going to limit the products that you can buy.
I've heard people complain that some managers will only let them buy, 5 of an item or something when they try to clear a shelf.
Yeah, I've heard of. Yeah, it's happened before. It's rare. I've bought a lot of stuff at a lot of stores, and you'll run into everything. Managers will say, no, you can't buy that. Very rare. And in some cases, if a manager kind of gives me grief, again, Dallas Fort Worth, right? You're not going to sell to me. I'm going down the street and I'm going to buy something else. I just go back later.
Exactly. That's how it is here in Denver. I mean, I can go to the next store, and if this whole chain invokes a policy like that, I'll go to the next chain. I mean, there's no limit on supply around here. I mean, I remember 2 months back there was a guy on Reddit that was complaining that the Walmart loss prevention people surrounded him and escorted him from the store for scanning. They thought he was trying to scam the store or something. But I mean, what are you going to do? You just, okay, fine, no problem, I'm leaving. And like you said, drive to the next store. Yeah. I mean, there's a Walmart every 30 miles minimum, you know what I mean? Oh, there's a Walmart every mile around here. There's a Walmart down the street.
Right.
And then you go down 2 blocks and there's another Walmart. I mean, it's crazy. But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of spoiled, being in a metropolitan area. And there's, there's just tons of people, so obviously there's a lot of stores. But, I mean, that's the same with their stores, everything. But I can't believe nobody else has questions for Chris, though. I mean...
Oh, I do. I have a question. Okay, Chris, as far as your future plans, what do you see for yourself? And, how do you develop your own personal goals for your business? Do you set aside time to kind of figure it out, or where are you heading?
I really don't plan ahead. I've had some people give me the feedback, on my last book, Online Arbitrage. They're like, man, you marketed that thing so well, and you did a great launch. And to be honest, I just kind of make it up as I go. If I think of something I want to post, I post it. If I see a cool kind of thing happening on the internet, I'll make a video of it to kind of capture it and share it. But I don't have a plan of, on this day I'm going to make a video about it, and you know what, in 6 months I want to work on this. I'm trying to get better at it because I honestly see the opportunities with self-publishing, and my personal brand. I mean, I'm aware that I'm a little bit of a celebrity in this world, and I could certainly do more to capitalize on it, and I'm kind of a fool not to. But I really enjoy writing books, and it's not just because I'm not a writer. I'm a liberal arts major, right? Like, people say I have voice in my writing because like my books sound like I talk, and I'm like, I don't know how else to write. I mean, that's just, I mean, it's how I write emails, so I wrote a book about it. I'm not a writer per se, but I like the idea of what you can do with self-publishing. I mean, I did this with online arbitrage, embedding videos, charging a high price, creating a membership. We're asking for reviews in exchange for coaching, and the value that I get out of that. Posting my phone number, which I tell you, nobody calls. You can post your phone number, and everybody's going to think you're fancy, and nobody will actually call. It's a bonus for putting it out there.
So we have a question from YouTube. Sabine is asking, how do you set an alert for an Amazon product?
There's several ways to do it. Camel has a free account. You can set that up. Keepa's got free. Install the Keepa extension in Chrome is the one that I use, and it's just one click, track this product, and put an alert on it. So I don't recommend Twitter because your tweets are going to be public and everybody's going to see what you're tracking. You can get emails. The new Scanpower Web Scout's got an advanced alert system. There are tons of ways to do it, but just do it. And we talked about this already. People don't do it. People have been hanging out in the Scanpower Facebook group for years, and then someone if someone who's posted a lot finally says, "Well, how do you set an alert?" That's when I pull my hair out, and I'm like, I do not know how to set an alert at this point. But on the flip side, that's your competition. That's what you're worried about? No. If you know how to do this stuff, just execute, and you'll be just fine.
Exactly. And even if you don't know how to do it, it's not that hard to figure out, and there's so much information out there that, I mean, just try it, and maybe, I don't know, when you're doing this, I mean, you got to be willing, and you got to accept the fact that you're going to make lots of mistakes, and you're going to get screwed, and you're going to fall flat on your path. I mean, being able to get back up, pick yourself up, keep driving forward, and not look back behind you, and not focus on what has happened, and pay more attention to what's going on ahead of you, and just don't let people drag you down. And
I got a question for you, Paul. I got a good one for you. And this is something I've been thinking a lot on lately because I talk to a lot of eBay sellers, and I go to these meetups, and I talked to someone they're coming to our little conference in March. They really want to get into like wholesale and private labeling and all this advanced stuff that does take more money than eBay thrifting. And she's an eBay thrifter, and she wrote to me, and she's like, you know what? I know I'm not making money on eBay, but I just keep going back to it. And I think it's because it's just something that she knows. And so you're going through this transition right now. So I think it's really important that you document this. But this is a question for everybody. Do you guys see, eBay sellers, and maybe it's not just eBay sellers, people that are like coming from a different background, unable to make the switch? Is it just human nature? They go to what they know.
Yeah.
They have a hard time embracing change and new stuff.
Yep.
And we can identify it, but what do we do to help them get over it?
Okay, this is where I'm at on the eBay into Amazon transition. First of all, I just started Amazon, so my numbers aren't that good. I think I just broke $3,000. I had $3,000 in sales for this month, or something like that. But I mean,
Congrats.
It's tough, man. I mean, getting into Amazon when you don't really have that much money up front, when you're used to getting paid immediately. Like if I list an item on eBay, it's available for sale right away, and when it sells, they pay me. I have the money in my account now. All I have to do is ship it out. And with Amazon, it's more planning. It's more getting the stuff in there, and it's great that you can get all these products, get it out there, get it ready to go, and you don't have to touch it anymore. They handle everything from there, and all they do is send you a paycheck when it sells. And I'm already at the point where I understand the ranking, and I understand how to, how fast something's gonna sell, and I know how to use all the different tools. I'm actually I got to look into Scanpower. I mean, I know a couple of people that have used it. I know I don't hear much about paid apps though from anybody in my community. I mean, it seems like more of the people that watch me are the ones that want to figure it out themselves, or else they're just quiet. They don't
I've been using the free trial for the last week, so I can give you some insight later on.
Yeah, don't worry about it right now.
Yeah.
But that it's really just the capital, you know, and it's already grown to the point where, you know, at first it was just nothing but thrift stores and thrifting for my product. Even yesterday, like I found this convection oven, you know, I Google I get on Amazon, I check the model, and I mean there were none in stock, and I get on Camel, and the thing sells for like $300, and I mean the ranking's decent. It was $10. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I'm sending into Amazon right now. You know, I'm just anything that I can find that's new in the package, anything with a barcode. Books I don't really mess with. I have, you know, my thing with books is I don't like to sit there and scan every one. When I do books, like I'm at a garage sale, somebody's got 20 boxes of books. Like, what do you want for all of them? $10? Cool. And I take them all, go through them, scan them, and I'm sending them in. But I mean, I think that's the biggest hurdle for me at first, was just not understanding how Amazon worked, and like just being freaked out about, you know, oh my gosh, are they gonna am I gonna get in trouble? How am I gonna package this? How am I gonna package that? What about all these restrictions, and what about all these issues with you know, like, is this packaged correctly? What's Amazon going to do with it when they send it from their warehouse? You know, I mean, I got one bad feedback. I consider it bad. One 4-star feedback because of the shipping from FBA, and the customer was mad that Amazon just threw it in a box and shipped it out. And I had bubble wrapped it and everything. But I mean, those were the things that kept me away from Amazon at first, and I'm pretty much over it now, and it's just a matter of getting the products into Amazon to just having the capital. You know, being able, I can't walk into a store yet and I can't scan an item for, you know, this is a $50 item, there's 20 of them on the shelf, they'll sell for, you know, $120 on Amazon. If I could afford to buy them all, which I can't. I'm not there yet, but that's kind of, with eBay, it's just a little bit more. It feels like you can sell whatever you want on eBay, and yet just have to be a lot more careful on Amazon. I mean, you were saying before about how in the early days of FBA you could just throw stuff in a box, send it in, and it would sell. But I mean, I think people have that notion that when they're buying from Amazon, they think they're buying it from Amazon. They don't even realize that they're buying it from somebody. So you've got to go through, do your due diligence, and make sure that you're following all the guidelines that are just a lot more strict. And at first, that was what kept me away. But you know, like I said, now it's just the capital. You know, being able to pour money into it and be able to wait a month to see that money again.
Yeah, Amazon's almost like an investment vehicle. I describe it. You know, spend $5,000, and by the end of the month, you're going to have $8,000. Right, which in the eBay world, like, whoa, no, I'm not spending $5,000 on product only sell for $8,000. But you know, if all you're doing is boxing it up and sending it to a warehouse and sitting back,
right?
You know, the number of hours you put into it, you know, to make $3,000 is a pretty good return on your time. But the two big buts is you got to have 5Gs, and you got to be able to make that purchase with some confidence, because spending $5,000 is a lot of money. Right, especially on eBay background, showing up and being like, I'm going to spend $5,000 today. And RB3, I bet you got some good feedback on this, because tell me about maybe you went from, you know, being a little more cautious to now I just got to spend money. You know, did you go through that mentally?
Yeah, it's a big hurdle, and you know, you start spending that money and you start second guessing yourself. But after you do it a few times and see that, hey, it actually panned out, and you take it and reinvest it. Then, you know, you do make a few bad decisions once in a while, but then you've got some padding because you have gone through the cycle several times, and you've got a little cushion because you figured it out over time. So, but yeah, at beginning, and Michael can tell you, he watched me grow this well because he works at the company that I work for. he watched me struggle through this thing and keep reinvesting till one day I just said, okay, I'm leaving my $200,000 job. Bye. What? And now Michael, who's in the chat, he's kind of watching the model. His wife now wants to step away from her job, and they're cautiously doing that. But yeah, you look at, if you spend $5,000 and you can turn it into $8,000, and then you could just put that $3,000 half into profit, half into buying more inventory, maybe half into paying your bills, because you do at some point got to pay yourself. Okay, I'm getting to that point because I asked for a severance. I won't take up any more time. Did I answer your question, Chris?
Oh, it's perfect. I think a lot of people need to see that everybody goes through that. People don't just show up and drop 5 G's and be like, oh, this is easy. Yeah, I'll drop 10 G's. That's a lot of money to spend, right? So you gotta be ready to get into that and understand how it works. But I see a big difference between eBay and Amazon is going from like onesies on eBay to multiples on Amazon. You're buying $5,000 and you're only buying 2 different products and you're sending them all in and you're selling a bunch. But I see this a lot, and it probably comes from that eBay mentality of onesies. People end up selling individual items. They're thinking on an individual item basis, being like, I can't sell those last 3 at a loss. The price has come down. Well, yes, you can sell those 3 at a loss because you just sold 150 for a profit. All right. So yeah, you made money on the 150. You're gonna lose money on the 3, but you made money on the 153. Right. But I see people getting stuck.
Yep.
I can't lose money on that. I can't lower my price. Dude, you made your money. Cut and run and invest that money in something else that's performing. Nobody makes perfect buying decisions. Everybody will buy some dog product that doesn't work, that doesn't sell, that doesn't perform. But as long as you're buying, more winners than losers, if you're 6 out of 10, good. You're not losing money. Now you're 7 out of 10 because now you got some experience and you're making better buying decisions. Now you're 8 out of 10. You'll never be 10 out of 10, so don't try. But the advice that I've been giving people lately on my coaching calls is I want people to make buying decisions where it's difficult to lose money. You may not make as much money as you expected. You may not make any money. But if you buy right, and the kind of 2 pointers I come to, buy good selling products with great brand names and buy at low prices. If you do that, it will be difficult to lose money. You may not make a lot, but even if you don't make money, you will learn so much by going through that process. That's how you have the leg up on your competition. That's how you crush your competitors who are like, oh, I can't even get started, it's like really hard. I ain't worried about that. I'm over here crushing it. But, just make better buying decisions. Just look at the data. Look at your past performance. One more thing before we move on from this is people say, how much should I buy? I'm like, I don't know, right? I don't know how many you're going to sell. I don't know what you're comfortable with. But every purchase that you make, review it. Review it after 3 months or 6 months and say, if I could go back in time, would I buy more? If the answer is yes, write down yes. If it's no, write down no. I'll give it to you. Just 1 minute. Yes or no, and track it. And then use that data. If it's 8 out of 10 times you should have bought more, start buying more. If it's 9 out of 10 times you bought less, start buying less. Go, Robert.
Peter Molius was on Andy Slam and Spreecast on Sunday. And I love this because it piggybacks off of what Chris is saying. You got all these tracking things now, right, with Keepa and Camel. You know what Peter said? It just blew me away, so profound. He said every time you get an email from Amazon that you got an order, that's a tracking device.
Yeah, you know what sells. And those emails only come when the item's shipped. They don't come on order.
Right. That's what I mean. When you get that shipment alert, you've got a built-in tracking device to tell you how you should plan on that product.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was brilliant.
Well, I actually pay really close attention to my sales because I'm only doing like 5 or 10 items a day most of the time on Amazon. And I mean, the stuff that always sticks out to me, it's like, oh, big whoop, I sold a book. I'm not going to go out and try and find more copies of that book. But when I sell something that's like, wow, I paid $3 for that thing or $5 for that thing, and I'm selling it for $15, $20, $60, it's like I found a few really good deals like that. But my concern right now, going forward, is what about after Q4? What happens to all this stuff that's selling
Great question.
right now? What am I going to do with that stuff? Do I sit on it for a year? I know all the storage fees are going up at Amazon. Do I just try and blow it out right after Christmas when everybody's looking for deals for next year? Like, I know a lot of people do that. They'll do their when they're doing online arbitrage, it's right after the holiday. They'll sit there and go and find everybody that's trying to blow out their inventory, cut and run, and they'll buy it up. They'll sit on it until next quarter four, and then they'll send it all in and just wash, rinse, and repeat. But I mean, do you have what can you say to the people that are kind of worried about like how the sales rankings are going to change when everybody's buying 20 of this item a day because they're all going to Christmas presents? How does it change after that?
Well, it definitely changes, and everything's kind of relative. I mean, like 10,000 in toys in December is different than 10,000 toys in June. Same number, right? But the numbers just, the sell-through velocity just means something different. If you buy the right brands at the right price, it can be difficult to lose money because you have that cushion if the price does drop. There's no perfect advice. Some people may want to hold till next year. I probably wouldn't. You're holding on to a lot of inventory. You're not getting the money back, and the big reason is there's no guarantee that stuff's going to sell next year. I mean, Zuzu Pets is a great example. Those things were like a day, but you would not long-term hold those. Now, if it's something like, if it's Batman or Ninja Turtles or something that probably have a little more staying power, then I'd consider that different. So everything would be on a per item basis. It would depend if I need money for something. It depends kind of when your fiscal year ends. Not everybody works on like the regular calendar. Do you need money to make a purchase? Do you have long-term storage fees coming up? Did you make a bad buy where you have too much of something and it's going to cost you more to keep and hold it than it is to dump it? Every item is going to kind of be an individual decision. But I would ask people for advice. There's a lot of people out there smarter than me, especially when it comes to individual toys or individual lines of product, and say, hey, and message them privately. If it's not something that needs to be in a group, this is the importance of like meeting and networking with other people. So I can go to somebody and say, you know what, I know that person's really good in toys. I'm going to send them a message and say, hey, I got like 120 of these that haven't sold. It's January 3rd. What do you think? And get their advice, and they'll probably give it to you. But it's per item, is what I would do on it. But here's a great camel thing. And Dwayne Malik started calling this the Christmas arch. Because if you look at the sales rank history on items and find a sales rank history of an item with more than a year, right? So you can see if there's any seasonal changes in it. There's a lot of products. They go way up at Christmas time, then they go down. They go way up at Christmas time and go down. And they've done that for 3 years in a row. An item like that, is going to sell next Christmas. Now, if it doesn't, if it's like a one-hit wonder kind of thing, you can make a different decision. But look at how much history you have. Look at the pricing history. See what you can expect to happen next year. Extrapolate a little bit. Make some educated guesses. There's no guarantees, right? I can't tell you the answer because there is no answer. I can say anything, and there will be a case example where it's wrong. So,
we do have one really good question in the chat. Are you worried about keeping up with the industry changes now that you're so involved with Scanpower? And I guess what he means by that, since you're devoting so much time to writing books and developing your apps and your tools and all this other stuff, how much do you think it affects your ability to go out and do this stuff? I mean, it seems like that's probably why the main reason you're doing all these BOLOs and posting them up and letting people, this is what I would do if I was buying the item, and this is why I would do it, right?
Right. I don't think it's difficult to stay up. There's definitely an advantage to being an active seller. You're going to see things and notice things that change a lot quicker. But what my day is I talk to sellers on the phone. I talk to sellers online. I talk to Amazon. I visit Amazon's headquarters and talk about the new things that are coming out. I read the FBA newsletters. I know you guys don't. I know most people listening to this don't. I read the FBA newsletters because I want to know about, okay, the prices changes or fee structure is going up on small, lightweight items. What's that going to do to the market price? Well, not hard. It's going to make it go up because the fee's going up. Sellers, I extrapolate, and this is a little side note, but every time Amazon makes a policy change or a rule change, back it out and figure out what behavior that is going to encourage. Because Amazon can't tell us what to do. They can't tell us what to price. They can't tell us a lot of things they would like to tell us. They would like to tell a lot of sellers, please stop sending that. It doesn't sell. We have way too many at the warehouse. And they finally put in limits. Like, you can't send in speed on VHS anymore, okay? They've got enough. They won't let you send anymore. But they have a rare rule where they actually enforce it and say we won't let you do something. But other than that, fee structure changes. They encourage different behavior. They have too many sellers sending in small, lightweight, low-priced items. They're not making money on the 2-day shipping from Prime members. So what do? They increase the fees. Not a big deal. They have to stay in business. But I don't think it's difficult to stay up with the changes because I work with sellers all day long. I know when something new happens, I hear about it. But there is an advantage. I would be even better if I was an active seller. But with limited time in the day, I can't do everything. Callie posted a few other questions. I don't want to seem like we're ignoring the chat room. Quick question from Daniel. How many hours a day do I work on my brand? Insight on my life, maintaining that. I kind of answered that earlier. I don't have like a master plan of what I do each day. Kind of each day kind of rolls out. If I get someone who wants to chat and I talk to them for an hour and see where it goes. But I'm definitely trying to be more strategic about it because I know I have a good brand. I know I bring a lot of value to a lot of people, and I've kind of done that by accident. So I kind of think about how good would I be if I did it on purpose. So I'm trying to be better about that. Quick question from Alan. Do I suggest selling books on FBA if you don't have much extra money? The advice I give for people with low budgets, not a lot of extra money, they're just trying to get started, is scan the stuff in your house. I hope you have an iPhone or an Android. You can get the Amazon Seller app absolutely, the Amazon Price Check app absolutely free. And scan all the books in your house, all the DVDs, all the CDs, all the board games that you have that you never open, which everybody has. Scan your pantry and scan your medicine cabinet. And that takes nothing but your time. And here's a litmus test. If you're not willing to do that, just stop and do something else. Because if you're not willing to spend an hour in your own house scanning products, then you're definitely not going to go to the stores and spend $5,000.
Or scan every item you bring home from your next grocery purchase. That's an interesting look at something.
People don't realize what some products go for. Somebody told me there was that wasn't Listerine. It was some product like that. They sold it for over $100. Bought it for $3.
Well,
That's not a replicable thing. But he certainly would have known about that product if he didn't scan it, right? And maybe he got the heads up because he scanned some products in his medicine cabinet and be like, wow, I would have never thought that people are paying that much. People fall in love with certain ointments or certain shampoos. There's a lot of crazy women out there. Sorry to all the crazy women, but I'll call you crazy if you say, I have to have herbal essences in the green bottle. Well, guess what? They just pulled the green bottle and put it in the purple bottle. But if you want the green bottle, I will charge you an extra $40, and they'll happily pay it. And there's probably guys out there that pay extra for some silly stuff too. But that's who we're selling to. And if you can scan it and you see the market price and you're in the right place at the right time, pick it up and you can sell it, you can make some good money. And the customer's thrilled because they're looking all over the internet for their green bottle herbal essences.
Yeah. And with the crazy women, I will say we do have probably 2 unicorns on here right now.
Crazy in a good way. Not even close to crazy, right?
I'm not crazy.
That's why we said
We're not crazy.
we just have a couple of unicorns.
That's what I'm saying. Twitch.
They're not crazy. They're the ladies of reselling.
I love you, sister.
We're getting more questions. I don't think this guy likes my answers. Now I'm afraid of being disconnected eventually. Have to lean on employees. I mean, I love leaning on employees. Our employees are awesome. Everybody that works at Scanpower is great. You can't do everything. And, the flip side, the proof of this is show me someone else who does everything I do, and they're a full-time seller, and they're a CEO, and they're a managing employee. And
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you post all the time and be able to live.
Right.
I'm good at it. I mean, someone told me this the other day, and it's a great way to kind of wrap up what I do, is I make the difficult look easy. And I know I do that. And I don't do that to for any special reason. But, I've just done a lot of these things a lot of times. I can spot things quickly. And, hey, I can copy-paste a link and post it on Facebook, right? That's not hard. But you have to post quality stuff. I know what people want. I know what people like. I know what makes people money. And I can post that stuff, and I can do it at scale. I've built an audience. I provided value to them. I can do that. It's hard, but I make it look easy. And you can see other groups popping up and other gurus popping up, and to me, more the better. Someone gave me this advice. It's good. Don't worry about competition. If you're doing something and someone comes in to compete with you, that's a great sign that what you're doing is right, that there's a market for what you're doing. Take Amazon courses, right? This is a great example. Someone comes out with an Amazon course, like, okay, whatever. Then if another Amazon course comes out, are you going to be like mad, or are you going to be like, no, that's not cool, I'm the guy who made the Amazon course? No, that is a validation that there are people who want Amazon courses, right? Then if another one comes out, if nothing else comes out, then everyone else is voting with their time and not making Amazon courses, saying, I don't think anybody wants to learn Amazon.
Right.
You know,
Well,
want that competition. Competition confirms that what you're doing has an audience, has a business model behind it.
Yep.
Also, when the competition thinks that they can do it better than you, and they come in and they try it, they're going to bring in people into the product line or the niche or whatever it is you're doing, and they're going to be people. They're going to reach people that you never would have reached. And when they go away because they're not as good, or maybe the people that they've reached decide that they're not as good, and they find out about you and you're better, then they're going to gravitate towards you. Or maybe they're just gravitating towards both of you now. You know. I mean, having more and more people doing all these different things, like the same type of thing, and being out there public with it is a great thing. It isn't competition. And the people that are like, I've been doing this for 12 years, and I can't believe somebody else would come on and talk about the same stuff that I've been talking about. I've been blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, whatever, man. I mean, it's only good for you. It's only going to benefit you if you're actually as good as you say you are.
Well, and Chris, this is where I hear you say it a lot, where you actually like seeing items that Amazon's selling, because that lets you know that it's worth actually selling.
Right. Amazon's not selling junk.
A lot of people don't want to compete with Amazon, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, there are valid reasons why they don't want to compete with Amazon, but I mean, there are also valid reasons why it's good to compete with Amazon. But
I compete with Amazon all the time. Let's not forget about me now, damn it.
The only full-time eBay seller on the panel.
Buy at the right price, and you can compete with Amazon. But, you know, I'm going to pick on this question a little bit, because I like this word, afraid, right? I think it's kind of trying to set me up a little bit. Am I afraid of being disconnected? No, I'm not afraid of anything. And here's the flip of it. Confidence. I am confident in whatever I'm doing. Right? I'm confident I can make money on eBay. I'm confident I can make money on Amazon. I'm confident I can make money as a speaker. I'm confident I can make money with self-publishing. And that's what I want everybody to have, because there's no guarantees. You know, if we're, like, seriously, I talked about this earlier, if we're just reselling retail products, okay, that's nothing, absolutely nothing proprietary about that. Nothing. And if there's nothing proprietary about what you do, you're at risk. And even what I do, there's nothing terribly proprietary about what I do. I've got my brand, which is me, which I own, which no one else can control. My stories, my examples, my experiences are mine. Just like everyone else here, all your experiences and stories are your own, and you can use those to build an audience. But I don't want anybody to be afraid. I want people to build up that confidence. Just like RB3, who was here, he built up his confidence to leave a $200,000 a year job. He wouldn't have done that without the confidence. So if he was like, I'm afraid if this doesn't work, I mean, there's no guarantees in life. It's right. With anything. I mean, this hangout could crash any second, right? Is it likely? No, but it could happen. But we're not going to be afraid and be like, okay, everybody get their answers in case it crashes. No, it is what it is. So I'm not afraid of anything. And I want people to have the confidence to do whatever they want to do. Build an audience, sell on Amazon. I don't care what it is. I don't know what I'll be doing. CreateSpace could shut down. Amazon could shut down. Facebook could stop having groups. Spreecast could go out of business. Am I worried about that? No, there will always be something else. I could not have predicted I'd be doing this show talking about a $200 book 7 years ago. I couldn't have predicted that, but it happened. And because these good things have happened, because hard work has paid off, I don't know what the future holds, but I am confident that, hey, I'll be able to make money, put food on the table. That's not a problem. I don't know what it is, but confidence. Forget afraid. Get some confidence.
You know, the names may change, but there will always be an eBay, and there will always be an Amazon. There will always be a place to sell yard sale things, and always a place to sell retail things.
And if there isn't, then we won't have to worry about making money anymore, because there won't be any more money.
What bigger problems?
Yeah, we'll have much bigger problems. Like that gang down the street, are they going to come and kill us with their pitchforks and their shovels? Anyway, that's it for today, guys. We got to wrap this up. Go check my Facebook group, the Reseller Wakeup. If you want to have an easy way to find the show every day, I pin the current episode to the top of the group there, and it's really easy to find past episodes. You can also subscribe to my channel. Everybody on this panel also that has been on the panel, I'm not sure about Michael, I've never met him, but RB3 has a great channel. Tracy's got an awesome channel. I mean, everybody on this panel has their own channels. I'm going to put all the links up after the show. Go check out Chris Green's Facebook groups. If you haven't looked into buying his book, then Online Arbitrage, go look it up. If you want to just kind of get an idea of what he's doing and what he's done, just check out his Retail Arbitrage book. It's not a big investment, so it's real cheap to just try it out. But I mean, he gives a lot of this information away every day on his group. So I encourage you, go check out Scanpower, go check out Hustle, his other group. And just the week or so that Hustle's been up, that's kind of when I jumped in on that. I've gotten a lot of good information. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching, everybody for coming on. Chris, I hope we can do it again sometime. Love to talk to you about self-publishing someday. But thanks for watching.
We'll do a show.